Hi, welcome to my video. I'm Jennifer Roberts. You're catching me on my YouTube channel, True Divine 44. You can also catch me on my Facebook page, True Divine, and it is the True Divine for both Instagram and Twitter. So move back. So this is part of the free content that I put out each day. It is the daily energy reading. I work with energy, I work with tarot. I combine the two together to bring to you, to help you with your day, to help you with the narrative of your day, the energies that you might feel within, or the energies that you might encounter, both on the collective stage and in your personal circle, in your more individual lives. Always, because it is a general reading, take what resonates, leave the rest behind. Whatever doesn't match with you, just because it's general, don't allow it to seep into your mind and for you to manifest those situations out of nothing when you didn't need to have them. So this is for the 28th of July 2020. It's a pretty heavy day for people who this will resonate with, in that we've got the first card, and it is the sensual, beautiful, magnetic magnet of a queen, which is the Queen of Wands, Queen of Fire. She's actually quite a sensitive, quite a open, and wise in a very different way, in a more passionate way, but not pushy. So she has that nice balance of that energy. But more importantly, it is always looking to the positive. And so we've got that clarified with the tower, and the tower is in reverse. And this is where maybe there's an energy of what would start off as good intentions has led into a situation where there is too much of a look to the positive, in that nobody wants you to be down or negative or of a lower frequency and to pull yourself down there. But there's also a balance in being both positive and realistic, being positive and positively truthful about the situation that you're in, the relationship that you're in, the job that you're in. And so look into the positive too much in a case of the tower in reverse, where you're clinging on to things that, or maybe it's coming to a natural end, or have maybe had some kind of, in a relationship, infidelity, some kind of cheating, and there's been a recovery period from that, and maybe one or both of the people, both of you, if this resonates with you, is looking far too much into the positive and sort of deliberately negating the real circumstances surrounding the relationship, whether again that is a relationship as lovers, partnerships in business, friendships, however it resonates with you. But is there this clinging on energy within you, that is you clinging on to something that you're having to cling on to, in that anything natural, anything that is still growing and expanding, maybe shouldn't need to be clung on to quite so hard. Are you negating a side of self that is self-sufficient and self-loving because you're clinging on to something that is coming towards a natural end, maybe for good reason, for your own expansion, or maybe to live just more of a truthful self, in that, people grow, people expand, keep people grow apart in business ideals, in friendship ideals, in relationship ideals. And so that can be a natural part of, growing. There's no need to have this insecure energy, in that this insecure energy is actually, for those who this resonates with, isn't actually resonating or coming from a place that is really about whatever you're clinging on to in your 3D. It is more representative of the natural end of whatever this is for you, particularly in relationships, is bringing up insecurities from within that haven't been challenged, that haven't been transmuted, that haven't been looked at adequately. And so there's almost like this distraction technique. And so the world card comes up. That came up yesterday and the day before in various different ways. So it's clinging on to this old world, clinging on to something that isn't going to naturally carry forward easily into the new transition that you're going into, if this resonates with you, in that you clinging on to this and trying to drag something into your future is not going to help anybody within the circumstance, because there's a natural end to it. There's a new cycle coming in, a big new cycle coming in, big new changes coming in, with it being the major arcana and being the world card. But that there is a new world at your feet. There is a way of changing into something that meets your expansion, your frequency now. And so to clarify, that is the Knight of Cups in reverse. And I checked the deck, these definitely came out at very different times and all in reverse. The other ones are upright in the deck. If I get the other ones in reverse too, the next clarifying card. So if I get those, I like to check through the deck to check that predominantly they're upright. So this does speak of infidelity. This does speak of people being hurt emotionally because of maybe some backstabbing, maybe some infidelity, some kind of going behind someone's back in one way or another that would hurt the emotions, that affects the emotions. Again, with this Knight of Cups energy in reverse, it is messages being sent that aren't maybe quite fair or quite truthful, in that there's manipulation at foot, and with that, it's drawing in a negativity into the new world that you're creating right now in various different ways. This side of things, if this resonates with you, is drawing and pulling in this kind of negative energy, and it's only becoming negative because of that Tower in reverse, that we're clinging on to things, that we're wishful thinking, too much positive thinking to the point of delusion going on. So you can see that it's a real, there's people out there today that are finding it very difficult to let go of people and things that that they've either outgrown, or that just don't resonate with them, or just don't speak truth to them in some way, shape or form today. The last card being the Eight of Cups. So this does speak of being brave enough to walk away, to sever ties, to let go, to move away from this old world into this new world. It does speak about marriages. It does speak about, again, back to this energy of this infidelity, and maybe the need to move away, because the only reason this is becoming, like I said before, negative in any kind of way is because there's a clinging on to something that is naturally trying to come to an end. So in this Eight of Cups, the advice is to move into your new world without bringing the old world that doesn't work for you anymore with you. So it is a tough time when you're in this energy of clinging on to something that is so hard to cling on to try and put right something that is so hard to put right. And so the last card clarifying the Eight of Cups is the Justice card, another major arcana. So lots of major arcanas, and it's the big major arcanas, the way that they've come out and the way they've clarified the other cards. So in reverse, this is blaming outside of self, overly so. Truths coming out, but are they distorted truths? Are they truths just from one perception? Unfair judgments being cast, that aren't balanced, that aren't fair, that aren't in the know. And so a narrative of unfair dialogue going on, and this speaks to the negativity that's growing due to the fact that there's this clinging on. So it's pulling on the emotions even more so, and it's becoming more and more strained and more difficult to navigate. And so there's been some kind of, if this resonates with you, some kind of unfair judgments being cast, unfair movements, unfair isolation. And so that people may have moved away from you because of the narrative that this Knight of Cups in reverse is spreading around. People might have judged you harshly or judged you prematurely, not knowing the facts. It's an unfair, unbalanced judgment. The scales are upside down. The sword of truth is upside down. There's not much truth being spoken, but very much perspectives being spoken, people's own perceptions and own perspectives from their own point of view, from their own corner, so to speak. Um, on the wider stage, this again speaks to huge um, illusions, and while the message is to stay positive right now and to stay upbeat and to stay in a high frequency, this is where the wisdom comes in being able to do that whilst living in this time of huge revelation, of huge destructions of illusions that have been built up around us. And they are big illusions. It's big destruction of those things that we've been brought up around. And so the tower is crumbling all over us in all different various aspects of life. And it feels like the ground is crumbling. It feels like the ground's rumbling for a lot of people. And so they've taken the advice on board to stay positive, which is great, but to the point of delusion, in that they've focused so much, because they've focused out of positivity on fear, that you're focusing so much on positivity that it's actually then to your detriment, because then it's sort of willful naivety as well. And we need awareness and positivity, balance and positivity. And so right now, while this time of truth is coming out, while this type of illusionary foundations being broken up is coming out, it's important that we try and not personalize and hold on to too much of the systems that we maybe are a bit frightened about them crumbling and what will come of the future. To stay, to have that slice of positivity, but also to be able to open up to the facts and see the truths and be able to transmute those, make sense of those, without allowing those truths to break you. And believe you me, I completely understand that it's very easy to do so at the moment. Whilst other people around you are feeling down, it's harder to stay in a higher frequency. Whilst other people around you are living in real fear, it is more difficult to stay in a higher frequency. So to be really kind to yourself and do ritualistic things with yourself, to have a bath, but really cleanse yourself in a gentle way, in a more symbolic way. Do things like that that can replenish you along the way, to allow you to have the bravery to see the truth of the matter and to see the truth of what just needs to crumble and we'll start again. What needs reforming, and the new foundations being put under, and again we'll build up again, but not to cling on to them, not to hold on to them, and not let them define your happiness in any way, shape, or form. Um, the world card in the collective with the Knight of Cups in reverse speaks to me absolutely of this old guard clinging on for dear life, and to try and drag out things as much as they possibly can to stop the transition of this new environment we're going to be getting used to, new world, if you want to say that, but new frequency, new everything. So there's this opportunity of us being able to embrace that and help grow that, especially for our future children. But at the same time, because of that, there is a huge effort to spread messages that are against the truthful narrative, that are basically there to trigger emotions, to try and make you draw in as much of that negativity, as much as that of that control and emotional manipulation as they can into this time of transition into what could possibly be a much higher frequency, much fairer, much more compassionate, and empathetic new reality for us to all live in. Um, the Eight of Cups representing on the collective stage, to move away from the old tricks and traits of these people that want to keep this world as is, um, to move away from things that, even if you thought you were doing good in the past, some of the revelations are that you could be working for a charity or donating to a charity regularly, and you're finding out that that charity has been involved in very malevolent things, especially towards our most vulnerable. So things like that, for example, are very difficult to take. and to walk away, it is difficult, and you do have to transmute how you feel about whether you've donated money to this kind of thing or just donated effort and time to this kind of thing and belief in this kind of thing on the collective stage, um, to not have that emotional hook on anything outside of self, so much so that it can cause you such sorrow. Um, the justice card. Just in the personal lives, let me say for some of you that it's a difficult time right now because you are in the midst of a divorce, or you have been for some time, and you feel that, especially with what's happening on the collective stage and delays in courtrooms and things like that, you feel like you're so ready to now move forward into your new reality, into your new world. But you're being held back by this justice, being dragged out by this justice maybe being really misrepresented in court. Um, and so, again, I want you to try and release as much of that as you possibly can in the ocean, if you possibly can, or a large body of water. By just, dipping your feet in, dipping your hands in, and giving those words of worry, giving those words of maybe a lower frequency manifestation of things that you're attracting right now. Give it to the water. Let that transmute it for you, and let yourself be filled up with, what it is, what it is. It is what it is. And you can bet your life that very quickly, if you can start thinking in that way, particularly under stressful situations that are being dragged out, that is a huge part of ascension, in that the outside forces around you can't affect the core of you, the core happiness of you, the core bliss of you, the core balance of you, the wholeness of you. Um, so to speak, on the wider stage with that, there's a lot of people that are leaving our view, where they were constantly on social media beforehand, constantly on TV beforehand, or radio. They had a constant imprint and footprint on the conscious mind because they were so prevalent. We're noticing that lots of people on that collective stage disappearing, like an exit stage left, and there's lots of conspiracies as to what's happening thereafter. But we know that we haven't been seeing them. We know that we haven't been seeing the royal family, and so they've actually taken the step to, I feel, leave a lot of their powerful positions. The pan's been overplayed in a lot of these people. Lots of truths are coming out, and there's been no option but for them to retreat. Unfortunately, I feel that we might learn today, or tomorrow maybe, of again further injustice, in that the real people, the real victims that have been affected by these globalists, these elites who have taken such advantage of our young, of our vulnerable, um, not seeing justice yet again. And so, a little bit like, who didn't kill himself, it's that all over again. I feel that something like that, or questions surrounding that kind of scenario, with various people that are on the collective stage. Lots of talk about an injustice, lots of talk about court systems representing and um, in a very different way for these people, and allowing things to happen and allowing people to get away with things that the layperson wouldn't get away with and wouldn't have so much leeway with. So look out for that, and I know that can be very disappointing right now. Um, Try not, as difficult as it is for a lot of people, try not to take that to heart. There are things in play that a lot of these people will face justice. Um, right now, they've got the safety net of this injustice being served, but this is snowballing. This is snowballing exponentially now, that people are really working hard, even with all of the limitations on social media, working hard to spread light to the abuses that are still going on, to the money trails, to all of the truths that can really connect people's mind to what's been going on, rather than it just being another conspiracy theorist time. Um, on the bottom of the deck, we've got the death card. Number 13, huge change, huge transformation and transition. Basically, it's an energy of it is going to happen. Just how painful, just how ugly, just how drawn out it is completely up to you. Allowing yourself to let go of things that just aren't for you anymore, aren't working for you anymore, just aren't on your frequency or your expansion level. Giving that up, giving that letting go, will transition you into your new reality much smoother, much quicker. And even with that being said, because of the energies surrounding us over the last few weeks and over the last few days in particular, um, there will still be, for predominantly the most of you, there will still be people who are experiencing a little bit of kickback, of negative comments, of negative gossip being spread around. And the energies are calling for you to be brave enough that even in the midst of that, you're brave enough to make the decisions that make you feel happy, to make your decisions not based on fear, because fear is exactly what's holding you back right now, from your new path, from your new world, from your the next stage in your soul's journey. On the bottom of the other deck, we've got the Eight of Pentacles. So the Eight of Water at the end of the reading here, and the Eight of Pentacles, and Justice, of course, being eight. So three eights. That's powerful. I'm going to look that up. So, um, three eights, and we've got this Eight of Pentacles on the bottom of the deck, talking about cycles, learning, expansion, employment, lots of employment opportunities opening up for you if this resonates with you today. Regarding your future, regarding things that you're wanting to accomplish, that looks real, real good for you today. To bring that into your new world, and that being a part of your new real world that you're creating right now, that you're manifesting. So that's a real positive to be looking at, and something to use as a guiding thread, to get you through this time of trying to make a decision about what works for you and what doesn't work for you, what you need to let go of and what you need to take forward. Um, so that makes a lot of sense, that that is on top of the Seven of the Water too, where you're starting to refine your wants and your needs. You're starting to really start to focus on what you want your life to look like, what you want to accomplish in your life from here on in, what this new world, this new reality is going to look like. So that is the reading for the 28th of July 2020. If you would like a private reading with me, any spiritual guidance, any energy work, get in touch with the details below. And until next time, I love you all. Much love. Mwah. Be balanced and be whole.